Hello everybody, this is Lucy Nathanson from confidentchildren.co.uk and here is my second Facebook Live. I did post about an hour ago to let you know that I'll be doing another Facebook Live, so hopefully some of you can join us today. So first of all, before I get going, I want to thank you for the support and the encouragement following my first Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago. I'm aware that over 1,200 people viewed that Facebook Live, so that was very encouraging, and I received a lot of lovely comments from you all. So thank you so much for your comments and your encouragement there. So because of that, I'm back to do another Facebook Live. By the way, please comment down below if you're here joining us. And if you have any comments or questions as we go, I'll definitely be reviewing those, so feel free to comment down below or just to say hello, just so I know who's watching, because I've worked with a lot of you either directly with your children or via Skype, so it's lovely to see who's with us today. So today's topic I'd like to talk about is a topic that I'm discussing with basically all the families I'm working with at the moment. So the children that I'm working with directly, I'm discussing this with, and also the families that I'm working with via Skype. And that topic is transition. Transition to next year, because it's that time of year where we are approaching the end of the academic year. We're in the last term of the year, so it's really important that we start to plan ahead, and we have a think about where we're at, reflect on where we've come this year, what's taken place, pause, take a moment to reflect on that, and then start to plan ahead. It's really important, and now's the time for us to do that. Hello Zoe and Caroline, thank you so much for saying hello. It's lovely to see that you're both here. So, where was I? So transition. So like I said, it's now is a time to be thinking ahead. So it's a great, transition into the next year can be a really challenging time for a child with selective mutism. Naturally, children with selective mutism are experiencing an anxiety disorder. So, of course, moving to a new class will be anxiety provoking for a child, naturally. Being in a new environment and being exposed to a new teacher will be naturally scary for a child with selective mutism. And we know that children with selective mutism, that what they find anxiety inducing is new places and new people, or familiar places that they haven't spoken to and familiar people that they haven't spoken to. And when we're transitioning to a new year, we're introducing those two variables. We're introducing a new place, a new classroom, maybe even a new school. And we're also introducing a new person, a new teacher, maybe new teaching assistants, etc. So when we're working with children with selective mutism, we always want to break down situations into steps. And if we just do the usual situation of the child going into the new year, then that's too many things changing in one go. So it's really our job now to plan ahead and do what we can to help the child to feel comfortable going into the new year. I can see 8 of you are with us now, so hello everyone. Hi Gillian, I'm glad you made it. And please comment down below if you're here, and like or love if you're here and happy. Okay, so that's the importance of planning. So what can we do? What do I suggest? I definitely suggest introducing the new class teacher as soon as possible, sliding in sessions with them as soon as possible. Ideally before the child knows it will be their next year's teacher. We know that children with selective mutism often find teachers scary naturally. So ideally we can slide them in before it's even been announced to the class that this will be their new teacher. So it can be done in a really casual, relaxed way, having playing a game with mum in a room at school, and this new adult, someone, from the school, is just marking in the background, gradually edging closer. So it can be a really natural situation. Ideally before the child knows it will be their teacher, in my opinion. Now, I'm aware that schools are often very secretive about who next year's teacher will be, and I face this challenge every single year. It's the secret of the year, who's for some reason who next year's teacher will be. But as selective mutism is a special educational need, schools have a requirement to make reasonable adjustment to support a child with special needs. So it's well within your right to hold a meeting with the school Senko and explain to them that, a reasonable adjustment would be to introduce this adult, the new teacher, to the child ahead of September. And if that means maybe around this time or just after half term, holding sessions with that person, that's making reasonable adjustment. And sometimes, like I said, schools don't want to reveal the next year's teacher openly, so they sometimes ask the parents not to disclose that to who that person will be to other parents, and that's fine, absolutely. But the idea is that we want to introduce this adult to the child ASAP, so that the child already starts to become comfortable talking to mum or dad or talking partner in that new person's presence, so that when they find out that this will be their new teacher, it'll be a lovely surprise for them, and they'll be hopefully relieved that, I've already know this person. Maybe they've even spoken to them already in session or spoken in front of them in session. So that's one important factor, one important action that we can take to already start sliding in the next year's teacher. Another important thing that we can do is to start to help the child to become familiar with the new classroom. And I know that lots of schools often have transition days or moving up days where the whole class goes to the new classroom to have a lesson there, to become familiar with that room. But ideally, we would break that step down even further. So perhaps mum playing a game with the child in the new empty classroom after school one day. Or maybe the current TA, if the child talks to them already, taking the child and their best friend to that empty classroom during playtime one day. Just so the child has... what we're doing here is we're providing the space, we're setting up the situation so that the child can start to become comfortable in this new environment in a way that they are comfortable with. So going to that classroom with all the children there might be too much. Whereas if they've already visited that room a few times, they've played with their best friend there, they've spoken to their talking partner there, then when they do go as a class, it's less scary. We're simply breaking the situation down into steps. I can see 13 of you are online at the moment, so it's lovely to see you. Please like and comment so I know that you're here. Hello Sonia, nice to see you. So those are two important factors. Like I said, sliding in the new person, the new teacher ASAP, and spending time in the new classroom as well, so that by the time September comes, the child's already spent time in that room, and they've also they're already familiar with that new teacher. Another option is a home visit from the new teacher. By the way, when I'm saying teacher here, it doesn't necessarily have to be the teacher. I'm referring to a class-based adult. So that might be the class TA if that's more practical for the school. It doesn't necessarily have to be the teacher, but ideally someone will be in the child's class. So a home visit again, is something that could really help a child. So again, setting up the situation where mum and child are playing at home in the living room, new teacher or new TA pops over, spends, again, in a really casual way. They don't necessarily join in the game straight away or at all. They might just say they've got to do they're popping over to say hello, and they're really sorry, they've got to do some work over here, and they'll just be busy doing some work, just so that the child has the opportunity to practice talking to mum with the new person there. So we're really setting up these artificial situations that break down break the situation down into steps for that child. Again, home visits. We really want to. We need to decide whether the child would benefit from that. So some children, especially older children, may not like teacher to come to their home. That they might find it odd or strange, and if it's going to increase their anxiety levels, then of course we wouldn't do that. We're definitely we're definitely responding to the child's needs, and we're definitely taking steps in a way that is, of course, lowering their anxiety. So with any of these suggestions, if you as a parent feels as though this will, draw too much attention or will make them feel anxious, then of course we have to think of an alternative plan. So, for example, during the school day, going to visit the new classroom, if that will draw too much attention and the child will hate that, then of course we don't do it. We have to we need to brainstorm what would be a better option. Maybe going after school, or making it really natural, popping in there to, with a friend to, take the pencil sharpener to the room. These creative ideas which will help the child to feel as though it's a natural process. Okay, so what else? By the way, if you've joined us, welcome, and please like and comment if you're here. Now, of course, a couple of more important points. Many staff, or the majority of staff, may not be familiar with selective mutism, so we need to take that into account. Now, of course, the first step to helping a child with selective mutism is to create the right starting point, the right environment. So that may be by educating them in advance of the child meeting them or holding sessions with them. So you could send my do's and don'ts video onto the school and ask the school to ask the teacher to watch that in advance of meeting your child. If you have my book, Understanding Selective Mutism, A Beginner's Guide, then absolutely pass that on to the new teacher before they meet the child, because that's why I created the book, because I'm aware that teachers don't have time, they're busy, and giving them, very long books can be discouraging for them. So this book is only 30 pages, very to the point and key points, so that they can, look over it, get an idea, get an understanding, and be better equipped to in interacting with a child with selective mutism. So if you have my book, definitely lend it to the new teacher for them to have a look over before meeting your child. Or if not, then absolutely lend them, any book on selective mutism that you have. I'm sure would be beneficial for them. And of course, my other videos on selective mutism on YouTube, feel free to pass those on as well. It's a difficult balance, isn't it? Because we don't want to overwhelm the new teacher, absolutely not. But at the same time, we want them to have an understanding of selective mutism before meeting your child. So, the do's and don'ts video is really the one of the key videos, and maybe one book or some leaflets on selective mutism might be useful as well, just so they have an understanding. So That's another important point. Hello, Debbie and Lucy. Nice to see you both. Thank you for your comments. Okay, and I think we're coming to the end. Over the summer, I definitely recommend Playdates with children from the child's class. We definitely want to keep those talking relationships going with the children that they already talk to. So keeping Playdates up as often as possible is a really good idea, as well as potentially introducing new children into Playdates. So maybe having a think with the child about having a think with your child, who else would you like to come over to play? And because the summer can be a real opportunity to expand the child's talking partners, because there's a lot of time to have play dates, which is maybe more difficult during the academic year. So definitely maintain play dates with current talking partners, and think about maybe using the summer as an opportunity to expand on current talking partners, to slide in friends at home, friends from school at home. Okay, so I hope you found this video useful. I've tried to share lots of ideas with you. So what I'd recommend is to have a think, take a pause, to reflect on your child. Think about, where they're at this moment in their talking, and what are the next steps. Maybe it's sliding in the new teacher, beginning sessions with the new teacher. Maybe it's starting to visit the new classroom. Maybe it's a home visit from the new teacher. Maybe it's play dates with friends, or educating the new teacher on selective mutism in advance of them meeting the child. So there are lots of different things that we can be doing. So have a moment to reflect on your child and what we can do to plan ahead, and then book a meeting with the school. Book a meeting with the school, the Senko, the class teacher, perhaps a new class teacher, and have an open discussion. Have a discussion on, discuss how far the child's come this year. So what has been achieved this year, and take some time to brainstorm, where are we at and where are we going, and what steps are we going to put in place to get to work towards those goals. So, like I said, transitions can be a challenging time for children with selective mutism naturally, but also they can be a new opportunity. They can be a good opportunity for the child, because the child it can be almost like a fresh start if it's planned in the right way. It can be a fresh start to evaluate where we're at, introduce new people and new places which haven't necessarily been contaminated, i.e. there isn't an association yet of I don't talk to this person. So we can use that to our advantage, perhaps, by planning ahead and putting some actions in place ahead of September. Even in September, perhaps asking the school if you can go in a couple of days early with the child. Usually in September there's inset days. The first 2 days of the year are usually inset days, training days for teachers where children aren't present. So perhaps you could ask the school if, while the new teacher is setting up the classroom, perhaps you could take your child and play a game in the new classroom and just be there, helping your child become comfortable with the new classroom while the teacher is just in the background setting up. So they don't have to do anything, but it's really about looking for these opportunities and asking ahead. Okay, so I hope you found this video useful, and I hope it sparked some ideas for you, and hopefully you can take that forward with the school, have a meeting with them and make a plan, and in terms of next steps. Okay, so please like and comment below if you've enjoyed this video. It's lovely to see you all here. Lots of familiar names, so lots of families that I've already worked with and continue to work with via Skype, so it's great to see you here. Thank you, Zoe, for your comment. I'm glad it was useful. And by the way, I have written an article on transition on my website, confidentchildren.co.uk. So I have got an article called Managing, Helping a Child with Selective Mutism Manage a Transition to a New Class. I believe that's what it's called, something along those lines. But anyway, I'll post the link to that article in the comments below, so that you could even pass that link onto the school Senko ahead of your meeting, perhaps. So they can have a look over and or even print the article out and take it along to the meeting. So there are lots of different ideas. Okay, so lovely to see lots of familiar names here, and I'll speak to you all soon. Have a good rest of the day. Take care. Thank you.